Good morning, Santa Clarita. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalsky, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. I am so excited to talk to you today. On the board, I have Peter. Peter, how are you today?
Good morning.
Good morning. I know Mike is on vacation, and you do not participate in the weekly cage match to determine who is going to be our board operator for the day.
No, but I've done enough cage fighting to be called for the duty.
That's right. You could, if necessary, we could put you in there and sub you in, but I really appreciate your help today.
At any point in time.
That's right. And you also double as my security in case someone comes into the studio unannounced.
Security, spiritual advisor, UFO on-field reporter, anything that needs to be done, I'll do it.
You're a Renaissance man.
That too.
All right, good, yeah. Good. So great. Well, thanks for helping me today, Peter. So we're going to start with Wade's week in retrospect, and I had an experience which kind of gave me the idea for the topic today. So I'm in Chipotle. Are you familiar with that fine establishment?
You mean Chipotle? Wait, is that what you said?
I probably mispronounced it. That's my.
I think you actually pronounced it correctly.
Okay.
And I think I'm probably saying it a very Americanized way.
Well, I've never been accused of being multilingual. So anyways, I'm in I think you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Chipotle. Okay.
Yeah, no, that actually is. Anyway, keep going.
All right, thank you. So I'm in line, and actually the line has actually gotten rather long. They're usually pretty good in there about
I've been there and seen it out the door.
Yeah.
You know.
And so there's a young lady, and she's getting ready to order, and she's been in line in front of me for, 8 minutes, all right? And the menu at this place is not very complicated. There's like 8 choices, okay? So she gets up to the front of the line, and they say, "How can I help you?" They're very friendly there. Everyone's great. And she has a little hesitation. And so the hesitation goes on for 20 seconds, 30 seconds. But then the rest of the line then notices that no ordering is taking place, okay?
Perfect.
So like 15 or 20 people suddenly stop talking and look at this poor lady. And so her ordering experience at Chipotle suddenly becomes a public speaking event. Right? And do you think that...
As if it wasn't hard enough already.
That's right, all the choices, yes. So it's not a very complicated economic transaction, but public speaking can be ranked very high with regards to people's biggest fears. I think
Isn't it the biggest?
I think some people rank it above death, which makes no sense to me. So... listen, I'll go ahead and give a speech before I have that other thing happen. So, but anyway, so this poor young lady, once it became a public speaking event, she got more anxious. Doesn't that make sense?
Yeah.
And so it actually ground everything to a halt, and the barbacoa versus the chicken decision suddenly became impossible to make. And so the funny thing about being an attorney and my job is all we do is public speaking. That's every single day, at least what I do. I'm in court every day, and I'm always talking in an adversarial system to either a judge, a jury, in front of my client, in front of a prosecutor, and there's actually an audience of people waiting to go in the courtroom. So I wanted to talk today about basically some different ways of looking at public speaking, because I think people think as attorneys, well, we prepare our case, we look at it, we say, all right, I practice it at home in front of the mirror, and I know what I'm going to say, right? But I have a really great guest today. Her name is Alicia Datner. I have her on the phone. Alicia, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, we've got you. Great. All right, perfect. So welcome to the show today. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm well. So just want to introduce you as Alicia Datner is a creative coach, and she helps in many different ways. And why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself in terms of, I don't know, we have Peter here who is a man of all trades. Go ahead and give me a brief introduction.
So I've been doing stand-up comedy for many years, and for a long time it was something I wanted to do really badly, but I was always scared to really put myself out there fully. So I did a lot of work to get past those blocks, and now I help people to get past their own blocks in the same way.
So you help people kind of get over the fear of public speaking.
Get over the fear of public speaking, get over the fear of what they might say, of whether they'll be good, of why they're doing it. Anything that comes up, really.
And a big fear, obviously, is what if I'm not funny? If you're helping someone in that perspective, right?
Totally.
I experience that every day on the show, actually. A lot of unfunniness happens here, so that's good. That's good. And mispronunciations of the word. How do you pronounce that word? How do you pronounce the CHIPOLTE word?
Well, I I pronounce it Chipotle, but I also try not to pronounce it at all.
Oh, right. So Peter and Alicia are at the Chipotle. I think my wife and it's tied. My wife and I are both Chipotle people, so I don't know what that says about us. But, well, great. Well, I'm so excited to have you on the show today. And what are some of the common things that people start with, the starting point of they've not had a lot of experience in public speaking or in creative coaching? What is the first thing that you have to deal with typically in that situation?
I think just being willing to get on stage is the very first thing. Just saying, this is something I want. For people to even admit to themselves that they want to be more self-expressed.
Gotcha. And so do you sort of do exercises with them or just talk about it or all of the above?
Pretty much all of the above. I mean, if someone has come to me, they're either talking with me or they're going to work with me or or they've enrolled in a workshop, so that they've made some level of commitment to say, yeah, I really want this.
Oh, well, great. Well, listen, I'm really excited to unpack this with you. When we come back from the break, what we're going to talk about is maybe some of these applications in terms of creative coaching in some more of the traditional professions like being an attorney. You're listening to AM 1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. I am attorney Wade Skalsky, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. Good morning, Santa Clarita. Welcome back. You're listening to AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalsky, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. Alicia, do I still have you?
You got me.
I know our technical operator here is Peter, and everyone actually that works here they have mastered the art of not losing my guests, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Oh, I've lost guests before, but we won't talk about that.
Well, but for me, everyone's batting 1,000, so
yes.
it's great. It's great. Well, great. Well, actually, I was talking with Peter at the break, and Alicia, I think he has a question for you, a stand-up question.
I do. I have a million stand-up questions, so I guess I need to pick one. But first of all, kudos to you. I'm a funny guy, as in
You are a funny guy.
I like to laugh, and I like to see people around me laugh. But stand-up is almost, in my eyes, I've never done it, and so I have a lot of respect and admiration for it, especially now because my girlfriend is an extremely intelligent young woman who happens to be a phenomenal writer, and she just graduated with her master's over at CSUN in American Literature, and there was a moment where she wanted to do something very creative there, and she had the opportunity to take a stand-up comedy course. She had never done anything like that.
Well, that's pretty. When I was in college, I took a softball course, and I was like, I would never, that stand-up comedy would be much better than that softball class I took.
But even so, did it push you out of your comfort zone? You did something new?
Playing softball?
Yeah.
Not really.
Well, I don't play sports, so I guess I still have that coming up for me too.
Softball as a sport is very. I mean, it's great. But the way that we played it was not that exciting.
Oh.
These ladies that do fast pitch. They're amazing. That's amazing. That's not what we were doing. We were doing like 8th grade underhand pitch. But anyways, what's your question? What's your question for Alicia?
I guess it's more of my question is it's more of a nuts and bolts question. You see, for her final, or not even for, they have several assignments, but I just went to the final once. But their professor was really awesome, and their assignments they would go to bars. They would go to what's that place in Burbank?
I like this assignment already. All right, so.
They would perform live. They would perform live because the point is, or in his eyes, and what they were learning is that. To stand up in front of people you don't know who are expecting something, especially funny things, because writing comedy is hard. And unless you've done it before, writing comedy, you have to learn it like anything else. And she and her classmates, I could see the progression of owning their crowd, of owning themselves and pitching something that's off the cuff by the seat of your pants, and it was a beautiful thing to actually see her kind of develop a new creative, ambitious side, and so something that happens though that I noticed are hecklers.
Oh, this is a good one.
And I've never, you know what I mean? You go, I'm going there to support my girlfriend and whatnot, but there are people.
Peter?
In that
did you heckle your girlfriend?
No, I resisted the urge.
Well, that's a really good question.
But when I see hecklers, there were. I'm trying to remember the name of the place we went to.
Did you have an urge?
Did you have an urge to heckle her?
No, I'm kidding. Okay. I would never actually heckle someone. But what I'm asking is, how do you handle hecklers? Because that can't that derail your entire performance?
Totally. Yeah.
I mean, how would you handle a heckler? Have you ever encountered one?
Oh, I've had many hecklers in my career. I've had so many.
What's like what's a tactic that you use? Because even in real life, if you have to not being doing comedy, but speaking to someone, you can have some kind of hecklers that you have to overcome in order to get your message across.
Peter, I think I'm going to heckle you right now. Can I heckle you?
I'll dish it back.
No, I'm just kidding. That's a great question, Alicia. What is a tactic or a philosophy or some way to deal with that?
The line that you have to walk is really delicate because if the idea is to sort of put yourself on the side of the audience and align yourself with the audience against the heckler, but for the show, but you have to really delicately match their level of enthusiasm. So if they're just kind of having fun, then you have to just kind of have fun. If they're actually being mean, then you have to be a little bit mean, but not quite as mean as them.
Well, go ahead.
You have to just basically be quick and respond and know when to actually ignore. There are actually times to ignore hecklers too.
And the only way, it seems to me that the only way to do that, to have a quick wit, is to put yourself, as you said, the very first thing to overcome is to put yourself out there and to take that chance. And you don't gain those social skills unless you become a social warrior almost. I mean, you get up there on the stage, and I mean, you are, not only are you performing, it's I see the work. If you really laugh, if you are listening to me right now and you love a stand-up comedian and he makes you or she makes you bust up laughing, know that that's work. There is
work.
Alicia, Peter is beaming right now. He's all fired up. He's like, "This is great. I love it, and I love it too." And I think the thing that's important to realize about this is that from a legal perspective, we have this problem in the courtroom, and that's why talking with you is so valuable. And if I have the heckler, though, sometimes is the opposing party. In effect, I mean, it's not apples to apples. But if you're in a jury trial and you have someone that is trying to impugn you or impugn your client, you do have to keep the jury on your side. You can lose them by becoming too aggressive.
That's it.
Yeah.
What does impugn mean?
Impugn?
For a layman as myself, or what does impugn mean?
It's just impugn is to get. I'm getting a language test today. I love it.
Well,
it's if you impugn someone's. I hope I use this correctly because I also did not pronounce Chipotle as well. So I don't want to impugn Chipotle, but impugn is when you, I believe, you have. You cast aspersions upon someone, meaning that you impugn their reputation, you degrade it.
Is it like punishing?
No. I believe, Wade, I believe the word you're looking for is a wordsmith in order to make your argument in your favor, and that's using, or is that you're not. I know what impugn means. I understand now.
Alicia, I know you know what it means. I feel like we just turned into a Saturday Night Live skit right now. What's happening?
So can you actually heckle someone in a courtroom? Like, can you actually be heckled just randomly?
That's a great question.
Can you just be like, objection!
That's a great question, and we're going to deal with that on the other side of the break. You're listening to Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm attorney Wade Skalsky, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. Welcome back, Santa Clarita. You're listening to your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalsky, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom. So I did learn something new in the break, thankfully for the internet. First of all, I don't know how to spell the the word impugn correctly on my first try, but I did get it eventually. And the correct definition is to cast doubt upon.
Yes.
So I feel I was in the ballpark there. If
Absolutely.
I had a little bell, I could ring it. So Alicia, are you still with me?
I'm here.
All right, perfect. So let's talk really quick about the hecklers, and then I want to get into some more talking about comedy with you. The great thing about being a lawyer in a jury trial is that if someone does heckle me in the crowd, the judge can put them in jail. So boom, done. That's I don't think that you can.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah, right. You want to be able to handle that as a comedian. So that's great. So to answer your question, a person could do it, and then they would be held in contempt and either escorted from the courtroom or hopefully placed in jail. So. They will not be allowed to impugn my presentation as I'm thinking about going to Chipotle for lunch. All right. Now, you're a professional. Did that count as a joke or no? Is that just a sad attempt?
What is that?
She wasn't even listening. She's like, I don't even know what you're talking about, Wade.
Look, if someone's laughing on the other end, you win.
I'm laughing. I'm laughing.
Good. So let's talk a little bit about comedy and in terms of when you're getting ready to do a comedy routine, or is that what it's called, a comedy routine or a set?
Yeah, I usually call it a set.
All right, perfect. And you're creating original material. I mean, do you have to worry about running into anything legally, or are you sort of protected, or what are sort of those things going in your mind?
Well, I was going to ask you.
Oh, well, I know the answer. So.
No, I try to just, say a lot of brand names in my set, and I try to just use other people's material as much as possible.
Right. Well, yeah, the thing about comedy is that there is something that's one of my favorite things about America is the First Amendment, and it allows us to say what we think, even if other people disagree with us. And so under the First Amendment, things like comedy will fall under the sort of parody/satire situation where you can make a satire of anything that's existing and for comedic purposes and have some protections. So we don't need to get, have you ever been sued for anything that you've said on stage?
Ooh.
I haven't, but I think that would be exciting.
No. That would not. Now, here's where my expertise comes into play here is that you want to avoid the system at all costs. Rule of thumb, if you can avoid lawyers or courts, do it. If you can't, then call someone who is really, really good at it because it can be a frightening thing.
I want to bring.
I'm
I kind of want to
glad that I know you.
Right.
This isn't exactly stand, but it's comedy, and I don't want to go down this rabbit hole too much. But you brought up a very good point about could the words you say, affect you legally, especially when they're in the context of a joke or you don't mean them or something because words are powerful and this is more than just words. But that movie, what was that movie that just came out with Seth Rogen?
Hot Tub Time Machine 2?
Not that one.
I want
to see that. Although I want to see it, but the North Korea one, the interview. That was a comedy, and I'm look at all the legal hubbub that's coming of that.
What's great about that is, and I think this is such a powerful analogy for what we live in a country to where we can get up and we can make fun of the president.
Exactly.
I can make fun
about that.
I can make fun of anybody, right? But North Korea that's a country that is so stifled for speech that not only can you not make fun of the leader in North Korea geographically, they get mad if you make fun of their leader in another country far, far away.
Think about that. Yeah.
And the reason that is because the first way to control anything is to control the language. And so when you get up there and you're doing a comedy routine and you're using your wit and your original thought to be able to give your views on what you're talking about, the people in the audience will listen to that and you can sway them. And I'm sure you've had that experience with an audience where they'll start off one way and then you have them by the end, right?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and that can happen with ideas too. Mm-hmm. And I want to make sure that we are able to kind of, if people want to get a hold of you for creative coaching or for comedy coaching or anything like that, how do they find you?
They can go to my website, aliciadatner.com.
And that's Datner with the two T's, Dattner, first name Alicia, Laicia. Yes?
Laicia.
Perfect. And great. And so then people can contact you for what purpose?
If people want to start doing comedy, if they want to start doing storytelling, solo performance, if they just want to feel more comfortable on stage. I work with people all over the country.
That's great. That's great. Yeah, and I think it's like, look, we're a legal show, and I'm a lawyer, so I think of things legally. And I do feel that comedy and all of the creative arts, from the movies to comedy to anything where people are taking a stand on something and have a voice about something, really is important for the culture, because we can stand up to things that we don't think are right, or we can draw, and in comedy you can draw attention to them safely. So you could, there's one it's sort of like, I always think that it's funny where South Park, are you familiar with that cartoon?
Oh, totally.
So South Park gets away with things that if there were real live actors doing those things on TV, that show would last about 4 seconds and then it would get pulled off the air. But because they do it in a cartoon, and because they do it with comedy and the way they do it, they're allowed to give their view on, it's been going for a long time now, practically anything, and have people think about it. And so I really appreciate you coming on the show today, Alicia, and starting that process. Would you be willing to come back on the show one day and talk some more comedy and the law?
I would love to.
Okay, great. So any questions for Peter before I let you go?
Peter.
Hi.
Yes. Did you enjoy your girlfriend's final performance? How was that?
She made fun of me like you wouldn't believe.
Oh, okay.
I was taking lumps. I was taking burns. I had to take it all. I was a good boyfriend. I did not heckle. I took my shots, and it was good.
And would you ever sue her if you broke up?
Oh, you know what? I have to. I can't answer that right now, right? I have my lawyer here.
So let me chime in here, Alicia. I can neither confirm nor deny that Peter will answer that question. Objection. Next question, please. So, well, again, thanks for coming on, Alicia. We really enjoyed having you. We'll definitely have you back. And if you want to get a hold of her, you can find her at aliciadatner.com. You're listening to Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I am attorney Wade Skalsky, and this is Wade Beyond the Courtroom.